Memories of Murder is a very popular giant in the murder mystery community, even though the killer never gets caught. I have seen people swear by this movie, but the thing is, what kind of mystery doesn't even solve the case? It just ends like a cliffhanger. The movie leaves you like your cross leaves you unread. It's very frustrating, but as with most good things, it's not that simple. The rabbit hole goes deeper. We'll get back to this. Now, call me basic, but imagine this. In a murder case where every suspect is viable, you can't rule anyone out just like that. That's why you rely on the protagonist to investigate for you. The story sprinkles 100 clues here and there, but nothing makes sense on its own until the final piece of the puzzle gets discovered in the climax, and suddenly everything makes sense. The killer was in plain sight, hidden only because of clever writing. That's what I call the eureka moment. This is the basic whodunit style mystery: clean, neat, closed. But then comes this one. It's a brilliantly written story. Most stories struggle to keep the mystery alive for long. This one doesn't. In fact, it holds it until the death of Kwang Ho at 1 hour 42 minutes into the movie, which is exactly 77.8% of the total runtime. And even after that, the mystery isn't solved. If anything, you are even more confused because he was the glue that could have tied everything together. Now that he is gone, we have nothing. We are out of options. For anyone who loves mystery, this is a feast. As the movie ends, you realize it's not a classic whodunit. There is no satisfying ending to this. The eureka moment? You don't get that. Instead, you get social commentary. You realize the killer could be anyone. You feel anxiety from the iconic last shot where the lead detective looks straight into her eyes. You think about it long after the movie ends. The whole movie wasn't grim, but the last scene changes everything. It messes with your mind. As I said, I'm basic. I love those simple spoon-fed movies, but this movie couldn't have that clean ending. Because, well, you need to know the backstory. The movie was inspired by the biggest serial killings in South Korean history. It involved over 2 million man-days of police work and more than 21,000 suspects. Still, at the time the movie was released, the killer was unknown. It was only in 2019 the killer was caught. Now, going deeper into that real case is out of the scope of this video, but the point is, Bong Joon-ho was deeply influenced by this unresolved reality, and he made the decision to end the movie without resolution. Reportedly, he even designed the final scene so that the real killer, if he was watching, would feel that tension when looking into the detective's eyes. He knew the killer was out there watching, blended in with normal people, and that's why the ending hits harder when you know the backstory. As I have come to know myself better, I have realized something. I love mystery more than anything. So naturally, I started asking, what makes a mystery good? Of course, there are no hard and fast rules, like everything creative. But here is what I think makes a good mystery. Whether you like clean endings or sophisticated stories like this, a mystery can be boiled down to 3 things, well, according to me. Those are controlled release of information, stakes escalation, and emotional investment. A mystery is about what you know and what you don't. The writer must give you enough to keep you invested and hide enough to keep you curious. You can prioritize one side, but the key is balance. Too obvious, you lose interest. Too vague, nobody understands anything. Everything should be perfectly balanced. Now it's up to you to find your balance. We love constant escalation. It could be stakes, the suspects, or the theories. Anything that feels like a bigger threat than the previous one. When one theory breaks, we need a stronger one. When one suspect is dismissed, the next one should feel even more plausible. Good mysteries replace dead ends with stronger possibilities. So, when we hit a dead end, the next lead feels like a victory. It convinces us the case is closed, and just when we're certain, it replaces that certainty with something even bigger. And this continues until the very end. This is the most important part. Everything falls apart if it doesn't hit emotionally. Yes, we want to uncover the mystery, but if we don't care about the detective's motivation, their frustration, their exhaustion, their collapse, then even the smartest twist won't matter. The reveal only works if the struggle felt earned. Let's go deeper into the movie. A mystery works because we only know things partially. That gives the writer plenty of room for misdirection. And the misdirection in this movie is some of the best I've seen. Misdirection means framing someone as the suspect while keeping the blame away from the real killer. The first suspect is Bong Joon-ho. He stalked the victim. That alone doesn't sound convincing, but the setting changes everything. We see corruption in the police, so we think maybe he's innocent, or why else are they torturing him to force a confession? But then he reveals facts he shouldn't know, so maybe he did it? Or maybe he's confused as he's not mentally well. In this rural setting, everything is messy. Serious things are ignored. Silly things are taken seriously. We are never sure of anything. And then he's released because of his webbed fingers, because he couldn't have committed the crimes with that disability. So it's a dead end. After this, they had no clue. They were hopeless, which makes us think, now what? Right then, we get the biggest suspect until now, and that too red-handed, or should I say red-underwear. This is when we thought that we got him. The movie makes us rethink, because there is no concrete proof. Everything is circumstantial. He is a husband with children and a sick wife. He takes care of them, but he doesn't have much privacy, and he has his kinks, which led him to the crime scene. That proves nothing. Also, he didn't have the soft hands, which was a major clue from the real victim. So as it turns out, he was just a sick pervert, not the killer. Then comes the strongest suspect. Soft hands, requested that specific song on the rainy nights when the murders happened. He has no proper alibis. Everything adds up. We think we finally got him, until the DNA test says otherwise. Not a match. And then we get the ending we get, which leads us back to the detectives. But before that, what impressed me most is this. The movie isn't visually dark. Considering the subject matter, it could have been intense and gritty, but it keeps the atmosphere light. Sometimes even funny. It rarely shows the victim's perspectives. And at the end, when it shows the family of the little girl, that hits us like a train. Most deaths feel like names in a newspaper, which is intentional. The movie is told from the detective's perspective. The detectives are just doing their job. They can't break down emotionally every time, and honestly, in real life, most of us don't react deeply either. For many of us, these are just names in the news. And then there's the environment. Wide green fields, misty mountains, wind moving through the crops, soft daylight, long still frames, muted pastel colors. It almost feels like a nature documentary. Horrific crimes placed inside open, beautiful landscapes and bright skies. That contrast creates a different kind of discomfort. The environment stays still. It doesn't react to anything. That stillness amplifies the helplessness. The crimes feel small against nature, but it makes the detectives feel isolated. There is also something psychologically interesting about this. Here, the beauty betrays you. It makes you lower your guard. And when something violent happens, it feels even more intrusive. Now, coming to the detectives, there's a reason we are so emotionally invested. By the end, the detectives are mentally broken. Detective Park starts as impulsive. He follows his own flawed moral compass. Detective Yoon is methodical, rule-following, calm. They are opposites. That dynamic keeps us engaged. At the beginning, Park claims he can identify a killer just by looking into someone's eyes. It feels comical, but it comes back later. In the tunnel scene, where Park Hyun-gyu is dismissed as a suspect, Detective Yoon loses it. He becomes impulsive. He tries to take law into his own hands. His belief has completely collapsed. He has flipped. On the same note, Detective Park becomes methodical. He shows the DNA evidence he's doing things by the law. He stops Yoon from killing the suspect. He has flipped. And when Park looks into the suspect's eyes again, he's not sure anymore. His fake certainty is gone. That's when the case truly breaks. And we feel the exhaustion. This isn't the type of mystery I usually prefer, but that doesn't mean it isn't a masterclass. Some things are universal in good mysteries, replacing dead ends with stronger leads. When one suspect collapses, the story slows briefly, then introduces something stronger. Each possibility feels closer to the truth. Momentum is everything. Clues are the puzzle pieces of the mystery. Controlling the flow of information and foreshadowing the payoff is what makes a mystery entertaining. And when the killer finally gets caught, all the foreshadowing converges at one point and makes the payoff a worthy experience. The bigger the case, the deeper should be the scar. That emotional erosion makes the journey powerful. And finally, atmosphere. It plays a huge role in conveying the feelings. Colors, stillness, composition, contrast, all used intentionally to save emotion. This film made me realize a great mystery isn't just about the reveal. It's about the misdirection, the chase, the frustration, and then the payoff. If I had to sum it up in one line, the reveal only feels powerful if the journey stretched you first. That's the biggest lesson I'm taking from this. Making this video was, pretty fun. I'm recording my whole journey while learning this. I'm doing so much research that I wouldn't have done otherwise. I don't know how much of this I can transfer while writing a story, but it's fun nonetheless. So I guess that's it. I'll leave it here and see you in the next one.